Rosmarie Tissi was born in Schaffhausen, Switzerland in 1937 and is considered an important reformer of the Swiss school style. She attended the School of Design in Zurich and gained a graphic design apprenticeship after completing her studies after 1 year. She formed a partnership and studio with Siegfried Odermatt in 1968, whom she had worked with for 10 years. It focused primarily on printed work, posters, and custom typefaces for clients. A member of the Alliance Graphic International since 1974, she's given lectures around the world, including at Yale and the Rhode Island School of Design. During her career, she moved from a modern attitude towards functionality and neutrality to an individualistic graphic language that expressed her personality through dynamic layouts, vivid colors, and type experiments. Her best projects offer an interesting and original contribution to the Swiss graphic design heritage. For the past 50 years, her work has earned her numerous awards and has been featured in galleries and honored by publications throughout the graphic design world. If you're a designer in the 21st century, chances are you've studied the International Typographic Style, or more commonly known as Swiss style. But to understand its underlying premise, you must know that it was born in response to the competition between modern and postmodernism, which began in the late 1950s. I've included a chart which displays these differences. The principles of Swiss style are as follows: cleanliness, readability, and objectivity. Just a few keywords that describe the driving force behind Swiss style. The 19th century marked the separation of design from fine art, and with it, the birth of grid-based design. In addition to the grid, Swiss style usually involves an asymmetrical layout, sans serif typefaces, and the favoring of photography over illustrations. The movement's innovators combined elements of other artistic trends to create the beauty and simplicity of the Swiss style that we know today. Elements from the Bauhaus to Still and the new typography are sprinkled throughout the works of Ernst Keller, Max Bill, Joseph Müller-Breckmann, and Armin Hoffmann, or otherwise known as the pioneers of Swiss style. We will continue to look at some of Tissi's work to see how she also made work in the Swiss style, but also made it her own. In order to establish how Tissi fits into the rational Swiss style and understand her influence, it is useful to briefly recall the status of graphic art in Switzerland around 1960. Tissi completed her graphic design studies in Zurich in 1958 at the height of Swiss style's international acclaim. This great acclaim was enhanced considerably by exhibitions and publications by Swiss designers. One such exhibition took place in 1955 in Zurich at the Kunstgewerbe Museum, providing an overall view of the status of graphic art in Switzerland at the time. The journal, called Work, devoted an entire issue to this exhibition. The issue featured exemplary works by well-known Swiss designers Karl Gerstner, Armin Hoffmann, Siegfried Odermatt, and Carlo Vivarelli. Rosmarie Tissi later confessed that as a budding designer of the time, the works of the senior contemporaries illustrated in this issue severely fascinated her. Everyone in Zurich opting for a career in the field of commercial art at the time, however, was influenced in some way by this puritanical creative environment. However, there were designers such as Tissi who did not wish to simply imitate the already widely established Swiss style. As you can see here in some of her posters, these designers, such as herself, began to experiment, but did not dismiss all the accomplishments of the strict graphics. The works of Rosmarie show how she breathed new life into constructive graphics. All of her work displays the great enjoyment of playful interaction between composition, color, and typography. The undogmatic way in which Rosmarie Tissi designs certainly shows a considerable divergence from the puritanical Swiss style. For her, typography is not just a medium to convey messages linguistically, but rather, her typography possesses a pictorial quality that offers additional support to linguistic messages. In her 1996 poster, designed for the World Cup Expo in Tokyo, Rosmarie has been quoted as saying about the poster, "I denied to illustrate any typical women's attribute because I think that women play as good and with the same enthusiasm football as men do. Therefore, I did not want to underline any difference." I think that resonates with the current events of the soccer world today, as we've seen lately with the World Cup. And also, Rosmarie was not just simply designing for art's sake, but she was trying to solve a problem. As in, how can I design a poster that shows that women play just as well as men? There were no frilly designs, no pink. As you could see, it is simple, bold, and truly extraordinary to express how football or soccer at the time could be played just as well as women. As we look at some of Rosmarie's art and design, I would love to share with you an interview conducted with her by Nicola Munari of Design Culture in 2015. What is your definition of design? Tissi has answered, "Design is a combination of functionality and aesthetics." What is the purpose of design? The purpose of graphic design is to deliver an information or a message in a package as original and interesting as possible. What are the qualities of good design? It may well carry the designer's personal distinctive mark. This, however, should never be an end in of itself. What are the key features of your design, Ms. Tissi? I have also always reduced my design to the essential, employed only few elements, and played with the proportions and the empty spaces. I believe that this helped to develop a timeless design aesthetic, owed also to the fact that I hardly ever follow any popular trend. What is the necessary condition to practical design? In the past, you had to be a good draftsman in order to become a good designer. This skill helps to get a better feeling for form and proportion, but this ability does not seem to matter anymore as it becomes obvious in some short graphic design workshops I've given. The students were not able to draw characters. They rely too much on the computer, and this tool induces them to employ a maximum of elements and typefaces. What are the differences between art and design? Could design be art? I believe design has to serve a purpose, and therefore it is not truly art. There are exceptions, for example, in the case of illustrations or when given freehand in order to convey an atmosphere. To whom is design addressed? Is it for the masses? Everybody should be able to afford good design, I think. And should products be design be cheap or expensive? Tissi answered, "That depends on the material they're made of and the production costs. I don't think it is right that products should be too expensive just to emphasize their exclusivity." Overall, I love Tissi's work not only because it's simple and colorful, but because she pushed boundaries and was a woman working in a man's world at a time where most would not have an established career such as hers. Because of her talent, progressive nature, and ability to think outside of the box, her ahead-of-her-time artwork is timeless and resonates with designers of today. It played an important foundation that I think will last as long as the art world will allow. I would love to share one last quote with you from Rosmarie. "When I was little, I wanted to become a gardener, mainly because I loved to be outdoors. Later on, I was fascinated by chemistry as I believed that in this profession I would be able to make inventions, but now I make inventions on paper." I believe that Tissi's love of science and working with her hands lent well to the future of her being a very successful designer. Thank you for spending your time with me today and learning about the art and design of Rosmarie Tissi.